Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is going to be our instantly after the episode... Oh, welcome, Whovians. Forget that part. And this is going to be our instantly after the episode reaction review discussion of Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 4. This one's called Lucky Day, which is lie.
Right?
Spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, but this is just too loud in my ears. Okay. We have talked about in the past about how much we love the escapism of storytelling. And that one of the reasons we also love sci-fi, me specifically, but also her at times, is that you can tell important stories, have important conversations about real world subjects wrapped up in laser swords and spaceships and time machines. This was not wrapped up in time machines and monsters. This was a complete... I don't know what the right word is to say. Complete calling out of the BS that my country is going through via the eyes of the English creators.
Except that when they filmed it, we weren't necessarily going through this, right? They filmed this last year?
Yeah.
Beginning of last year?
Yeah. But it's also something that they're going through, too.
Yeah.
The idea of... The idea presented in this episode is very much the...
Weaponizing fear.
Weaponizing, yeah, and weaponizing mistruths, and using utter and complete lies to gain power and monetizing it. And it's happened in our country. It's happened in the UK. It's happened in France and Germany. It is the modern trend. This is an example that everyone is going to give that the internet is terrible, as we're talking to people on the internet.
The internet can be for good, and also porn, but
It
can
be
for good.
Yeah, I am a big believer in the free information, the free sharing of information. And the internet allows that free sharing of information to be spread across multiple platforms in multiple ways in multiple countries. The drawback of that is exactly what happens in this episode.
Right. So, well, not to get too far off the subject, but don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Yep.
Like, have two brain cells to rub together and go fact check stuff before you decide it's all true. Or you're going to get bit by a shriek.
By a shriek. I like that they called him Shriek. I'm just trying to think if there was a much more on-point name.
Yeah.
You guys workshop it in the comments.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about this episode that this was, I think, really our first... The Doctor takes a back seat with this iteration of the Doctor. The Doctor's not really in this episode. And Ncuti comes in at the end to pretty much tell Conrad that you're a douchebag.
And he was in the beginning when him and Belinda Chandra land in 2007 and give, what is his name?
Conrad.
Yeah. The coin, and he was Jerky McJerkface then, and he's a Jerky McJerkface now.
Yeah. And his mom was not all that great either.
No.
It was interesting, too, that they used 2007 as the date for the New Year's. It was 2006 going into 2007. That is Eccleston going into Tenet. It's The Runaway Bride. So it's Donna Noble.
Yeah, so Tenet's been around
Tenet's been around for a while, and that Runaway Bride episode is the Christmas episode. So that's kind of going on while the 15th Doctor and Belinda show up trying to calculate their way back to Earth for May 24th, 2025. So we got closer. And we also got an episode where a former companion, or currently not on the team companion, is the main focus of this episode, which is something that we really haven't done overall in Doctor Who.
Right. Well, I mean, Ruby never left.
Yeah.
She didn't die. She didn't have her mind wiped. She didn't, go live in 100 years ago or whatever.
Right. Or another dimension.
Yeah. Yeah. So, she just ceased traveling around with the Doctor, as far as, we never saw a I'm not doing this anymore episode, right?
No, it was much more of I need to stay home with my mom for a bit.
Yeah.
It was which is fine.
Which, Rose did that all the time. Like, I need a minute to hang out with my mom and Mickey.
Right.
Ricky.
Right. I think that decision to have Millie come back to be Ruby Sunday, and to have the Doctor be not even an important character, really, for the overall storytelling process, is a bold choice, especially with the subject matter in which they were doing. So most time when they've done a very political based episode, and don't come at me that the Doctor Who has gone woke. Doctor Who has been whatever woke means. I don't know what woke means. You can. It's not a thing, but it's always been political and science based from jump back in 1966,
59.
59. Wait, I was doing math. It's always been teaching kids about science and history and being a good person and all of that stuff. So to come and say that Doctor Who's gone woke when you have a very political episode like this, it's just a weird thing. And so I appreciate when the Doctor Who creators do this occasionally, not every episode smacking us in the face with it.
Right. Chibnall.
Last week, although there was some fun underlying, I won't say fun, there were some fun real world conversations going on. It was the Doctor and Bell in space and revisiting a previous episode. Something bit me and it's just making me crazy.
Stop scratching it.
I'm sorry, it's right there. It's the shriek. The shriek bit me. It's really small.
Oh.
So I really like to have these moments of, let's talk about the real world. Let's talk about let's teach kids this is an example of how to be a bad person. Here's an example to be a good person. I really like that. I don't want it every week.
Right. And they won't. But it's important to where we're at too, because so I think we kind of figured out that where this was.
So yeah, I know where you're going, and I'm totally confused after what happens at the end.
Yeah, because we were thinking that this was before the season finale of season 1, because Kate's
unit
boyfriend whatever is back. He's alive, but this would have been after Ruby left the Doctor, so
yeah,
the timeline's a little confusing, and I'm sure that the internet will explain that to us in the coming days. But we are essentially 2023, 24, 25 ish time frame, and so what the message that they're giving is very. It's timely. It makes sense that we had that with Snowden, right? That he released information about secret agents who he put their lives in danger. And it's the same thing. This guy is releasing his, what he thinks is the truth about UNIT, and, you know, exposing their lies, except they weren't lies.
Right.
And it's a security, you know, situation for everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's timely. But I think he's gonna come back. I think
we're gonna see Conrad again.
And I mean, the doctor just said you die in prison. That doesn't explain between now.
Right.
And did he say he was like 46 or
49,
something?
49, I think 49? Is what he said. Yeah.
But he is obviously in his
mid-20s?
Yeah.
I would say mid to late 20s.
27 or 2007. If it's 2025, that's 18 years ago. He was probably 10.
Yeah.
He looked like he was about 10 then, so 28. So there's still 15 years between now and then. And Mrs. Flood came and let him out.
Yeah.
So whatever she is, she's got plans for him.
I like the after everything gets resolved, and the doctor invites him onto the TARDIS, and they have a back and forth, and Conrad asked the doctor, have you met Belinda Chandra yet? And the doctor said who. So that kind of helps a little bit of art, at least for us.
Yeah.
Kind of like some explaining, because...
But Ruby's not with him.
But Ruby
Belinda's
went through
not.
the whole thing with Shutek and everything, because they talked about seeing planets go to dust and everything like that. So we're in that window.
Between her leaving the TARDIS and him picking up Belinda.
So, but Conrad knew of Belinda.
Right. And that's another thing. Like, why does he know?
What does he know? Like, is he one of the Harbinger? Is he one of the gods? Is he working for one of the gods? And Mrs. Flood went and got him to help him escape or get out, or
is Mrs. Flood the master? And she's taken him forward.
I have been thinking for a while that the master is the one who is doing all of the moving of the parts. My only trepidation with saying that that's what's going on is that you had the toy maker, the Neil Patrick Harris toy maker. I played the master and he lost, and I made him a tooth. Yeah. And then the tooth gets picked up at the end. Now I think that hand is Mrs. Flood. So we go,
did he?
Right. If you want to play with the fun Saxon part of the master, when he dies the first time, not the third time. When he dies the first time, his essence goes into the ring, and his girlfriend and the cult of Saxon resurrect him, and then that's how we get Prime Minister Saxon, and he duplicates himself and all that kind of stuff. So So you have that that kind of already kind of set storytelling that the master has an assistant, has a companion that's doing stuff. So if this is actually the master who's pulling all the strings, and Mrs. Flood is the companion doing all this stuff, I think we're onto something here. For an episode where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Now we're off in the deep end about what's going on.
Because of the last minute.
Yeah, because of one post-credit scene where a spaceship shows up.
That's a
different one
for a different thing.
I think with this episode for me, this is not going to be one that I'm going to be excited about rewatching.
Potentially,
right? As we,
it just makes me okay. The episode itself, it was fine. I always love when UNIT shows up.
And Kate
and all of them. I love that, but it made me feel It made me feel icky. It didn't make me feel happy. I was happy for Ruby, and then he turns out to be a jerky McJerkface, and then I just want to punch him.
I thought she was gonna kick him.
Yeah.
I want Ruby to be happy, and I really appreciate how good Millie Gibson was in this episode. That first love emotion that she kind of conveyed throughout the early part, and then just the utter heartbreak.
Yeah, because she thought he liked her, and she liked him back, and it was nice, and then he just used her, and that was just horrible.
And that feels icky, but to someone like him is willing to do that. Is willing to gaslight somebody into liking him to get what he wants.
Well, yeah. But she didn't. I mean, that just makes you, as a person, as Ruby, that just makes you question your, decision-making abilities.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't I see this? Like she said, I've, seen Earth dusted, and I've been to other planets, and I've been to other times, and you can't, you don't see this coming, and yeah. I probably wouldn't rewatch it because of that, because it just makes me want to crawl through the TV and punch him in the face.
Yeah, and Howard King. Howard King.
Yep. No, it's
Honk.
Jonah. Jesus. Jonah Howard King.
Welcome to us trying to figure out how to say people's names.
It was fine, but you put an extra N in there, and so then I saw an extra
It took me 4 weeks to get to Belinda.
Belinda Chandri.
I still can't do it.
Miss Belinda Chandri.
They keep using her full name.
Yes.
That's something else that I need to work on that. He's great in this. He's the actor.
Yeah,
Jonah is great in this.
You see his range.
You see, to play that kind of bumbling, kind of slightly innocent kind of guy, to full on social internet troll, and just. That range of back and forth is part of the reason why I think this episode actually, in the long run, is actually a good episode. It's everybody's really good in it. The writing's really good in it. I think overall it's a good episode. It's just not going to be one that I'm going to be excited about rewatching because of the subject matter, because of how they treated Ruby. Because let's be honest, we all fell in love with Ruby after she got kidnapped by the goblins in the first episode. And so I like that. I want to express that I don't like this episode. I think it's really well done.
Yeah, you just don't like the feelings this episode gives you.
Yeah.
Not the episode itself, just the feelings.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be lost on some people. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to not be able to differentiate between that.
Yep.
That their feelings, their personal feelings about what actually happens is going to make them lose track of it was actually really, really well done.
Yeah, saying it's a horrible episode just because it made you feel bad.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the Doctor for a hot second. Him showing up in that freaking outfit. The outfits that Chuti is wearing in this show, I'm just so jealous. He's just rocking. Actually, the coat that Conrad had on, the plaid coat, rocking. I'm so jealous of the English sometimes. It's April, and we're sitting here in shorts because it's freaking 97 degrees outside. A lot of people have been talking about how the Doctor cries in every episode. And it's true.
He didn't cry in this one.
The fire in Chuti's eyes that you went after my friend, and I'm not going to destroy you, but I'm going to destroy you. That's a fury that we haven't seen since Capaldi. That I'm going to wreck you. And I have every part of every means to do that. Heaven Sent is all of that. And so I just, it was nice to see the fun-loving version that we're getting with 15, who's very open with his emotions and very in touch with his emotions and letting them all out, being angry. And being angry, and not a way of angry with a situation that he couldn't figure it out or whatever. Angry that somebody hurt his friend.
Yeah.
And that's a very different anger. And I just, for being on the screen for all of 5 minutes in this episode, I thought that was so well done. He's killing it right now. I'm so happy with him as the Doctor. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that was it.
A shorter one for us because we got to it late. We're in the middle of getting our house ready to move. So if you live in the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Vancouver area, we would like to know of your Doctor Who geekdom, fandom bars, comic book shops, hangout places, that kind of thing, because that's where we're moving. Oh my God, we're moving. So let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode. Please be very nice. That is a requirement around here. If you're on the Spotify side, follow us there. Share with your friends. If you're on the YouTube side, hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications. And then we're all on all the social media stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. I'm writing for the Geeky Area. All those links are in the description down below. And until next time, cult members and Whovians, good afternoon, good evening, and ooh. It's somebody needs to turn the brake off.